M1 Finance versus Acorn. Which one is better and why? If you ask me, it's like comparing Apple to Android. And honestly, guys, I never pick sides, but I do pick dollar signs. Why? Because although some applications out there might offer, hey, we do everything in this one platform, like saving, spending, investing, like everything, I usually don't go with the one platform. Why? Because there's better rates out there. For example, I might go with Chase for a mortgage, but I won't go with Chase to get savings accounts rates because they don't have the best rates out there. So by the end of this video, guys, I'm going to break down all the cons and pros when it comes to the Acorn app and the M1 Finance app and actually decide at the end which app is actually better. Now, guys, if you don't know me, my name is TommyBryson. I'm an accountant and I've been practicing personal finance for the past 4 years now. On top of that, if you want full descriptive videos on these two financial apps, I recommend you watch 2 of my videos that I did like very descriptive and I go into detail into every single aspect of the apps. So I'm going to put those links in the description down below, so check those out if you want to. Now, guys, I do post videos on this channel every single day, so make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell so you get notified whenever I upload a video about finance, making more money, or whatever benefits you. On top of that, we have a little tradition on the channel where I ask you a question before the video starts, and you answer it first, and then at the end of the video, you tell me what you think now. So here's the first question. Do you have the Acorn app or the M1 Finance app? Comment down below which one you have right now before the video starts. On top of that, if you don't have any of them, just comment down, I don't have any of them, and I'm trying to pick which one is better for me. Now that you commented, guys, I do want to break down some of the basics before telling you which app is better and why. The first thing is this. When it comes to M1 Finance, I think they have over $100 million in securities on the platform, so that's a lot of money. But on top of that, they give you the ability to invest money, borrow money, and also spend money. On Acorn side, they have over 3 million users, and they give you the ability to actually spend money, invest money, and also save money into your retirement. And they also have a cashback feature. I'm going to talk about that later on in the video. Now that we got the basics covered, I do want to talk about some of the pros and cons when it comes to Acorn and M1 Finance. But let's start with the pros first. When it comes to Acorn, you can actually start with as little as $5. And on average, whenever you get invited to Acorn, you do get $5. And a whole bunch of you, every time I put up my link out there, some of you register and you get $5, and then that's how you actually start investing. And some of the things I really like about the entire spend account, the debit card they give you, they have no overdraft fees, no minimum balances, no inactive fees. On top of that, they have nationwide free ATM. So for example, if you're in California, New York, wherever you are, and there's no ATM for free available, you can go there, withdraw money for free, and then they reimburse you the money at the end of the month. No problems whatsoever. Now, I know what you're going to say, compared to SoFi, it's kind of cool, but it's not that great because SoFi does give you unlimited ATMs around the planet, okay? But it's about Acorn and M1, so let's stick to those 2 apps, please. Now, on top of that, they do have a little feature called Found Money, and I've used it myself a few times. So for example, every single time I take an Uber, I get 50 cents per ride. So for example, if I'm going down the block and I spend $3 or whatever, I get 50 cents back and they invest it into my account. Now, you might say, Tommy, that's not a lot, but they have over 200 companies there that they do invest in you when you do spend money on them, like Nike, Adidas, like a whole bunch of places out there. Even people like that give you like loans for student loans refinancing. So you could get money for refinancing your loan if you're going to do that anyway. So just think about that for a second. So they have a whole bunch of things out there, but that's not really cash back. So I don't want to reconsider that because you do have to spend money in a way to make money, and that's not really, I'm not really a big fan of that, so I don't really want to discuss that much. On top of that, it does have Apple Pay, so you can connect your card with Apple Pay, which is very cool to me because I like paying with Apple Pay. And there's free ATMs. There's a few features there that I do like, and on top of that, you don't really need that much money to actually get started. So that's a big pro for me. And also, guys, when it comes to the entire portfolios, they give you 6 index funds. And here's the thing with those, guys. You might say, Tommy, it's not a lot of options, but I do consider that a pro because those index funds were constructed by Nobel Prize winner economists. So that's a big deal for me. On top of that, it makes it very simple when it comes to investing because you know your money is going to be balanced and you're never going to lose all your money because it's kind of like this. Half your portfolio is stocks and then the other half is kind of like bonds. So in reality, when stocks are going up, bonds go down like a little bit. And when stocks are going down, bonds go up a little bit also. So it's always like perfectly balanced in a way. And I really like how it's set up. So that's a pro for me also. Now, when it comes to M1 Finance, it's kind of different. Remember when I said it's like Apple and Android? And it's not like in a bad way, you know? But when it comes to Android, you can do a lot more. But iOS is like way more simpler, but it works nicely, okay? But I have both devices, so I'm not judging anybody, by the way. But the main thing is this. M1 Finance allows you to do everything that Acorn does, but at a completely different level. So you have access to everything you do have access on Acorn, But with M1 Finance, you can actually customize it however you want to customize it. Now, that might be a good thing if you know what you're doing, but that might be a bad thing if you don't know what you're doing. And let me explain, right? So for example, you might say, Tommy, I like being able to buy stocks, individual stocks, but if you know how to invest, if you don't know how to invest, that's not a great idea. But if you do know how to invest, then that's a great idea because you have the freedom to invest however you want. I really appreciate that. With the entire M1 Finance investment account, they allow you to have joint accounts. So for example, if you're married, you can actually have an account with your wife or your husband or whatever it is. You can actually invest together and build up your entire investment portfolio together. On top of that, you know how Acorn, when you join in, they give you like one decisive portfolio and you can customize it a little bit, but the only thing that changes is like percentage. But with the entire platform of M1 Investing, they give you whatever portfolio you want. You can make your own, or you can choose one of theirs that's dividends or like income, like whatever you want to call it, okay? But they give you your own and they give you the opportunity to actually customize everything. And that type of freedom is very cool for me. And I'm going to break down later in the video, because it sounds like I really like M1 Finance, but I still have Acorn. I'm going to break down later in the video why I might be sticking to Acorn either way. Another pro that I really like that a lot of people don't really consider is the ability to actually borrow money against your portfolio. But before I say that, I actually like customer service. They're very good. But here's why I actually like that, guys. Because you might say, Tommy, I don't have a lot of money. And on top of that, you're required to have over $10,000 to actually do that, okay? And I get that. But in reality, guys, if you're investing for the long term, imagine like 10 years, 20 years on the line when you have like maybe $1 million in there, maybe like 200 million, or no, that's too much. Maybe like $500,000. Imagine being able to borrow 35% of that investment that you have in there and buy like real estate and just invest into that, and then have that real estate pay the interest for them and just pay it off slowly, but you're not really paying the interest. So I like the ability to borrow money against my portfolio, even though if you don't know what you're doing, you might lose your whole portfolio. But I like the ability to actually be able to do that. It's actually very smart, and it's like, that's what I say, guys. It's like Android and Apple, because Apple is simple and it works perfectly. But with Android, if you know what you're doing, like 9 out of 10 times, you will get a better experience because you have the ability to do whatever you want, whenever you want to do it. And another pro that I really like about the entire M1 Finance application is that, for example, whenever you are an Acorn, you have to, for example, if I'm on Acorn and I invest like $500, it buys like my entire portfolio basically, right? It buys it and it splits it up however I picked it to split it up, okay? But on M1 Finance, I can actually buy $500 of one of those securities rather than going through the entire portfolio. And I really appreciate that because, for example, I might want to invest because the S500 is actually down and I actually want to take advantage of that, but it won't let me do that. Like, it'll just buy everything in my portfolio. But with M1 Finance, I can actually just buy whatever I want to buy and just that. And I really like that feature. Now that we have the pros out the way, I do want to discuss a few of the similarities that the apps actually do have. So the first one is this: partial shares. This is actually very important because one of the main things is this, guys. You might say, Tommy, you invest every single month. Yes, but I wouldn't be able to start investing the way I do now if in the beginning I didn't have the ability to actually do partial shares. Why? Because, for example, to buy an entire security in the S&P 500, for example, Vanguard, it costs around $250. Back then, I didn't have $250 to put into a stock. Maybe I had like $10 or $15, but I didn't have $250. So it might seem like overwhelming when you have $250 and you actually want to split it up and balance it. It's impossible to actually do, because we don't have the money. But in reality, when you get to buy partial shares and put it into your portfolio, it makes it a lot more easier. And both applications actually give you the ability. But the main thing is this: with M1 Finance, you have the ability to invest in whatever you want to invest in, like Amazon, whatever it is, and you can actually buy partial shares in that. But with Acorn, it's kind of like more Vanguard stuff, and you can actually invest inside of it, but it's more safe, it's more secured, it's more passive, and it's more consistent. While I will say this, okay, it's not one of the main things yet, but I will say this: you can actually, and by the way, I said this last video, you can actually design the exact portfolio you have in Acorn inside of M1 Finance and have it have the same results because it's the same exact one. Now, when it comes to fees, for example, Tommy, they both have fees. You can't really talk about it, but I'm going to talk about the fees in a way that you guys can actually understand, okay? When it comes to fees, Acorn charges you between $1, $2, or $3 if you have the spend account. That's Acorn Core to actually invest into the index funds, Acorn Later to invest into your retirement, and then Acorn Spend to invest with the debit card. That's $3, okay? So the fees go from basically $12 a year $24 a year to $36 a year, and you get all these benefits, okay? But with M1, the fees goes from basically $100 promotion right now to $125, which comes up to be a lot of money if you ask me. So compared to the value that Acorn gives you, the value of the fee in M1 Finance is just not really there for me. So for example, with the entire value, you get 1% cash back and 1.5% on a yield if you keep money inside the account. That's not really huge for me. It's not a really big deal. On top of that, you get four ATM transactions reimbursed every single month with M1 Finance, but on Acorn side, that's kind of free and you get unlimited ones. So I really appreciate that rather than the entire 4. So the entire value of the entire M1 Plus it's just not there right now, okay? Maybe in August when they start reviewing things and actually putting things out there for it might be better. And I will say this, guys. Later in the video, I will discuss why I think Acorn only charging $3 might be a problem and why I think M1 Finance actually charging $100 might be a good thing. But I'll discuss that later on in the video. Now, the third similarity is this. They both have limited trading. So for example, you can't execute on a trade whenever you want to. It's kind of like more long-term. So if you want to execute on a trade, because it is partial, you do have to wait until the trading opens and then you can actually do it. So for example, if you want to make a trade today, you put it in today and then tomorrow it happens. That's how it works. It's because you're doing partial shares and that's just how it works, okay? If you want to do non-partial shares and you have the money on you, then just go to E-Trade and then do it through there or any other platform like maybe Robinhood, but they don't really have index funds, so that's another whole conversation. So yeah. Oh, and one thing I do appreciate about Acorn, guys, is the education factor. For example, when you go into the Acorn app, they give you like countless articles there that teach you a whole bunch of different things about investing and tell you, hey, the market is going down today, but in reality, look at this, you know, it keeps track of the entire thing and it shows you exactly how to invest if you're a beginner and all that stuff. So I really appreciate the little details you actually put into everything, guys, and that means a lot to me. Now that we covered all the similarities, I do want to talk about everything they actually lack together. The first thing is this: they both lack ways to actually waive the monthly fee. So for example, whenever you go to Chase and you're paying $12,000 a month, if you deposit direct deposits, then guess what? They waive it. If you keep more than $1,000 in there, they actually waive it also. But with these accounts, they don't waive anything. You can have $1 million in there, but they won't waive anything. So I would actually appreciate a way to actually have those fees, monthly fees, actually waived, maybe depending on my portfolio size and how long I've been with you guys, something like that. But I do want an option to actually get those fees actually waived. That would be pretty cool. On top of that, ways to actually send money through Zelle, Venmo, and Cash App. You can't really do that with either the Spend app or the entire like M1 Plus that's coming out. You can't really do that with any of them, and I really don't appreciate that. But with Acorn, I think it's gonna be the same thing with the M1 Finance also. So for example, with Acorn, you can actually send money to your wallet on PayPal and then send the money back to someone else. Just share it like that. But I do think this, guys, if you do have Apple Pay, then you know if your friend has like an iPhone, you can just send them money directly through Apple Pay. So I think that's like a little hack around the entire Zelle thing. So that might work, but so far I do want it to be supportive when it comes to Zelle. And I think it's not supportive because it's not its own bank and it's backed up by another bank. I think Acorn is backed up by Lincoln Bank, okay? So that's the entire issue with that. Now the second thing they actually both lack is bill pay. For example, bill pay is not a big feature for me because I just have everything automated, but I know a lot of people out there, they like the entire bill pay feature and they want to keep using it. So it might be a good option to actually offer it because a lot of people out there, they do want to use it and they do want to have the option to actually do bill pay. On top of that, no ATM deposits, only ATM withdrawals. So for example, I have to have a secondary account to actually send money to you guys or just have direct deposit set up. I would appreciate it if I could just set up, I would appreciate if I just do deposits through an ATM and then that would work perfectly. So for example, I know with a lot of credit unions, they work together and they form partnerships. So you can go to any credit union, you can actually deposit your money through there and then have it go directly to your account. That would be a cool feature if you actually work with the banks and then have them set that up for you. Very cool feature if you ask me. So far we covered the pros, the things they share, and the things they both lack. But I really want to talk about the marketing for all of them, okay? So when it comes to marketing, Acorn is all about spend, earn, and grow. When it comes to marketing for M1, they're all about borrow, invest, and spend. Now, here's my thing, guys. To get inside the door with Acorn, you only need $5. To get inside the door with M1 Finance, you need $100 and then $10 thereafter. But in reality, my main thing is this. When it comes to Acorn, I think Acorn is very in tune when it comes to who their competition actually is. When it comes to M1 Finance, they're doing a great job, like destroying the competition when it comes to like borrowing and also investing. But when it comes to the entire factor of like a debit card that you're releasing, it's not that great and it's not that awesome. So my main thing is that right there, like the debit card just doesn't make sense, and the entire like M1 Plus just doesn't make sense so far. So far with marketing, I think Acorn is doing a very good job, just like putting it out there like, hey, we're simple, we're all about growing over time, we're all about long growth, while M1 Finance over here, like they do the same thing, they do a great job, but when it comes to the entire debit card, it just doesn't make sense for me. Now, when it comes to cons, I already said it, but I sprinkle it around, okay? So the cons are basically this. Acorn, very limited and very not versatile. So you can't really customize your portfolio as you wish, or just customize it in the way that you actually want to. And that's kind of sucks because it's limited. But on the side of M1 Plus, you actually get all of that. But when it comes to the entire debit experience and the debit card, it's not that good. When it gets to the entire thing of you getting like this entire like membership like plus, like the value isn't there whatsoever. So that's the con for me, and the con for me is like the versatility over here. That's really it, guys. They have great customer service, they have great products over there, but those are the main two things that are just like holding them back. But I do want to say a few features that I really would appreciate if these companies actually take into effect. So for example, with Acorn, if they had a cashback card that was just cash back and not just like found money. So for example, right now with the entire like Acorn like card or whatever, you have to spend money to make money, and you have to spend money in a specific place to actually get back some cash back from the found money. And it's kind of weird and strange, but I would rather it be just like regular cash back when you just spend the money and get back 1% or 2%, whatever you want to call it, but just regular cash back, not companies that you guys are affiliated with, that you guys make money from, but you know, just regular cash back for the customer. That would be pretty cool. On top of that, I would appreciate a high yield savings accounts, because right now, everything is just like, hey, you save money, but you're just investing the money, okay? It's different from investing in savings. It's a whole different thing. I would really appreciate a high yield savings accounts within the app. That would be pretty cool. That's FDIC insured. So imagine this. If I want to invest, yes, I can invest. I can put my roundups to go into investment, but I would also appreciate the ability to actually put my roundups towards a regular savings accounts. Because remember this, guys, if the market is going down, I'm not going to want to invest my money in the market all the time. I'm going to want to save some of my money just in case I want to buy some property or do whatever I want to do. So I would like that option. And the third thing is this, guys, borrowing against your own money. I think M1 is actually onto something with this. So for example, if Acorn has something where you can actually borrow against your portfolio, maybe like 35%, maybe 50% of your portfolio, and put it on a margin and just take the money out whenever you want to at a low interest rate, that would skyrocket the entire app. It would be very cool. But I'm not sure Acorn would go with that because they're all about long term. But that would be another route for you guys to actually make more money and make more income. And I'm going to talk about that later on because I'm not sure how profitable Acorn actually is. Now, the fifth thing is this. Get rid of, this is Acorn by the way, get rid of charging management fees altogether. Now you might say, Tommy, you know the management fee is only 0.25% and you only get charged once you hit $1 million. So that's a long time from now. Well, I get that. In reality, it is a long time from now, but once that time does come, customers will leave you to go somewhere else that offers no management fees whatsoever. So I'd rather you guys get rid of the management fees even when you hit $1 million and just offer more great products. And then that way people will stay with you, leave their money with you, and then that way you both can grow together. And another feature I would like is to allow people to actually invest money into whatever index fund they actually want to invest into. So for example, if I want to put in $500, you can actually give me the option like, hey, do you want to distribute this in your portfolio altogether, or do you want to invest in a specific index fund? And then I would like that option, like, you know, two options, like for example, the entire portfolio or individual stock, you know, that would be pretty cool for me. Well, not stock, index fund, that would be pretty cool because sometimes I just want to invest into one thing like the S&P 500, but I don't have that option, so that kind of like sucks. Now, when it comes to improving M1 Finance, the only thing I have with M1 Finance is the entire like M1 Plus charging you $125, but there's not a lot of value there, and charging you 1%. Compare yourself to big banks, but your competition is like online banks. So compared to online banks, you're not that great when it comes to the entire debit experience. So I would really appreciate if there was like a debit card, maybe like 1%, 1.5%, but it's free to use. Like you don't have to pay money to get it. On top of that, maybe offer a savings accounts like with maybe like 2.25% yields. That's pretty good. That's pretty high. If you want to make a checking accounts that earn some money, like you can make it like lower, but that person has the option to actually keep money inside of the savings account. So that's pretty cool if you actually do that. On top of that, if you want to actually create value from this entire like plus account, just make it make sense, you know, and let people have the option to actually waive it by having money with you guys and actually keeping money with you guys. That's a pretty good deal if you ask me, because if people keep money with you guys benefit from that. On top of that, they benefit from by having the money there because they're not going to get charged any fees. Now you're probably wondering, Tommy, which one do you think is better? And I'm pretty sure you guys already know my answer, but I'm just going to clarify it right here because you guys already know me, honestly. But my answer is this. If you want versatility and be able to do whatever you want and customize it whatever you want, however you want, honestly, you can do M1 Finance. They have a great platform for that. You can actually borrow against your platform and then you leverage that and then make more money in another way. That's great stuff. But if you want somewhere that's simple and just works and just like does everything basic like your grandfather, then you want to go with Acorn. And I'm kind of like that, you know, like I'm like that. I just want something simple. I don't want to customize anything. I just want to have it there. But eventually, guys, here's my thing. I'm going to say this, I'm going to be very honest. Eventually, I might be leaving Acorn for M1 Finance if Acorn doesn't improve a little bit in the versatility. So for example, letting me put in money into a specific like index fund, that would be pretty cool. Letting me pick other index funds would be pretty cool also. And on top of that, here's the thing. Eventually, when I get to maybe like $500,000, I'm going to want to borrow money against that money and actually leverage it. So if I can't get leverage from my money, I might transfer over there because they actually let me leverage. But from right now, how I'm seeing it, Acorn is very simple. And I like it that way. I don't really want to complicate it. But M1 Plus is kind of like, you know, like the Android to everything. Like they can actually customize everything. Everything can be much, much better here if you actually customize and you know what you're doing. So in reality, my entire perspective is this. M1 Plus is great. Acorn is great. But they're both for different niches. Now, what I mean by this is this. If you want simplicity, that's a whole different niche. And long term, it's a whole different niche. That's Acorn. If you want simplicity versus versatility versus having the option to borrow money against your money and versus having the option to buy whatever you want whenever you want, then M1 Finance is the one for you. So when you ask me like which one is better, they're both the best for what they want to do and the market they're trying to attract. But if you ask me, if Acorn follows the improvements I laid out in this video, they could be one of the best. Same thing for M1 Finance. That would be like one of the top ones out there. So imagine this. Acorn has the versatility, and then M1 Finance has all the value. That would be amazing. That would be great. So guys, in reality, comment down below and let me know which one is best for you. So for example, if you want Acorn, comment down below Acorn. If you want M1 Finance, just comment down below M1 Finance. But I do want you guys to do this, okay? If you have M1 Finance, you're going to get it. Comment down below your M1 Finance referral link so people can actually register for it if they're new to it and they actually start off with $10. And I have a link for Acorn in my description down below, and you start off with $5. So if you want to sign up for Acorn, sign up with my link. If you want to sign up with M1 Finance, just look through the comments down below. I'm pretty sure someone is going to put the referral link down below, so you can actually sign up like that. And as always, guys, if you like the video, go ahead and like the video and comment down below why you liked it. If you dislike it, and let me know why you dislike it. And subscribe to the channel if you like the content and you want to see more of it. And turn on notifications, so whenever I upload a video, get notified. And I'll see you guys next time on the next video. But if you want to talk to me one-on-one, uno a uno, DM me on Instagram at TommyBryson. I always respond to my DM, so that's that. See you guys next time on the next video. Thanks for watching, and peace.
You've got to start at the bottom.